The debate surrounding the topic of natural health product regulations continues. On May 22nd, the House of Commons reconvened to resume the second reading of Bill C-368, which seeks to amend the Food and Drugs Act by repealing Sections 500 to 504 of Bill C-47, which moved natural health products fully into the same regulatory category as pharmaceutical drugs. Members of the major political parties passionately shared their perspectives on this proposed legislation. Starting with the Bloc Québécois Party, here's a summary of their stance on the necessity of Bill C-368.
If the government had been a little bit more transparent, if the necessary consultations had been undertaken, if everyone had worked together to find a way to move forward without harming an industry that Quebecers and Canadians have a right to access, well, then we wouldn't be here today having this conversation. Bill C-368 is now necessary, and it must be sent to committee so that we can do our work, the work of parliamentarians. That's why we'll be voting in favor of Bill C-368.
Up next, we have statements from the NDP party.
I have had a lot of constituents and local businesses approach me about this issue in particular, and I'm pleased to be able to stand here as their elected representative to let my constituents know that I will be supporting this bill at second reading. Natural health products have a long history of use in Canada as low-risk and affordable methods of promoting well-being. They must remain accessible to all Canadians. And it is unacceptable that the changes to the regulatory regime under the Food and Drugs Act was snuck into a budget omnibus bill because it did not allow the proper study that this issue so richly deserves.
Moving on, we have statements from the Conservative Party.
Natural health products businesses contribute $5.5 billion to the Canadian economy and $2.8 billion in taxable revenue. Over 80% of businesses in the sector are small or medium-sized. 70% of brands have indicated that they will need to withdraw products from this market. 1 in 5 businesses are contemplating shutting down due to the proposed changes. And according to StatsCan, women are much more likely to purchase natural health products to manage their health. Jules Gorham is the Director of Regulatory Affairs for Canadian Health Food Association, and she gave a very powerful testimony. Unfortunately, it's a well-known fact that women have been historically neglected in research. There is a scarcity of data on women, and Health Canada's latest regulatory reform on natural health products is yet another example. Prior to publishing its proposal on cost recovery fees, Health Canada did not conduct any analysis on the impacts to Canadians, including a gender-based analysis, despite having a mandate saying that they would.
The issue that people have written to me the most about and approached me the most about is really related to natural health products. Over 80% of Canadians use natural health products on a regular basis. When these regulations continue, what will happen is this industry will die. And then what will happen? Because we know 80% of Canadians use these products on a regular basis, they will continue to use them. And when they continue to use them, that means they are going to have to buy them somewhere else other than the great from the great Canadian industry that we have, which we know is incredibly safe.
Next, we have statements from the Liberal Party.
The misleading information that just came across when the members said, well, we are going to see businesses close down, the industry is going to be devastated if this legislation doesn't pass. What garbage, Madam Speaker. That's what it is. We just heard a lot of garbage, misinformation, Madam Speaker. Why would they oppose a government having the authority to protect the health of Canadians? You know, the government does have a role to play, Madam Speaker.
And there is no question that natural health products are lower risk than prescription drugs. But the reality is that they are not risk-free. They can actually cause serious harms in certain circumstances, in particular, if not manufactured properly. I want to stress that product availability will not change with Vanessa's law. Unsafe products will be removed more quickly from the market, but safe products will continue to be available. Canadians are counting on us to safeguard the marketplace from unsafe products. I encourage all members to vote against this bill. Thank you.
Finally, we have a few closing statements from MP Blaine Culkins, who introduced this bill.
Even though I'm thanking the NDP for their position, I'd like to remind people, how did we get to this place? We got to this point with natural health products because of a Budget Implementation Act bill, Bill C-47, that was passed for Budget 2023. And where did the authority for that come from? It came from a promise made by the leader of the NDP in March of 2022 to form a coalition with this Liberal government, which meant that they were going to support every budget and every Budget Implementation Act that they hadn't even seen, hadn't even discussed, or been party to, and they gave that power to the Liberal government, and that's why we're here today. Shame. So while I appreciate the NDP's revisionist history on this, they are the reason that this change happened in the first place. Because this was snuck through in Bill C-47, and wouldn't you know it, they're doing it again right now with Bill C-69 in this place. Exactly. They're making even more changes to Health Canada and giving them more powers. And second of all, I want to talk about freedom of choice in healthcare. This is a huge, huge issue. I believe the Health Food Association and the Natural Health Products Protection Association and the Direct Sellers Association and the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, when they say that the changes that are being proposed by this Liberal government is going to kill and stifle business, I believe them when they say that, because we've got a 9-year track record of this government doing nothing but harm to the economy of this country. I want to thank all of the Canadians who have reached out to members of Parliament in a very active campaign to let MPs know just how important this is to them. And I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank my colleagues, those of you that are brave enough and have the courage to do what your constituents want you to do and vote for C-368.
As MP Culkin stated, the official vote for Bill C-368 will take place on May 29th. We encourage you to continue engaging with your MP right up to the final moment, and we thank you for all of your hard work and persistence.